Imagine a world where a single city hosts merchants from Samarkand, scholars from India, and diplomats from Byzantium. This wasn't a fantasy, it was daily life in 8th century Chang'an. The Tang Dynasty didn't just rule China, it created a crossroads of civilizations. Our story begins in 618 CE, when Li Yuan seized power after the collapse of the Sui dynasty. His son, Emperor Taizong, would transform this new regime into something unprecedented. The Tang didn't just want to rule China, they wanted to connect it to the world. The key to Tang cosmopolitanism was the Silk Road, not just one road, but a vast network spanning 4,000 miles. Tang control extended deep into Central Asia, protecting merchants who carried silk, spices, and ideas across continents. At the heart of this network stood Chang'an, modern-day Xi'an. With over 1 million residents, it was the world's largest city. But more importantly, it was the world's most diverse city, a true medieval melting pot. Foreigners didn't just visit Chang'an, they lived there permanently. The city had designated quarters for Persians, Arabs, Koreans, Japanese, and Central Asians. Each community maintained its customs while contributing to Tang society. Walk through Chang'an's Western market, and you'd hear a dozen languages. Persian merchants sold silverware, Sogdian traders offered Central Asian horses, and Indian monks taught Sanskrit. The air smelled of foreign spices and exotic perfumes. This diversity extended to religion. While Buddhism flourished, the Tang court welcomed Nestorian Christians, Zoroastrians from Persia, and Manichaeans from Central Asia. Even Islam arrived during this period through Arab traders. The famous Big Wild Goose Pagoda in Chang'an wasn't just a Buddhist monument, it was a translation center. Monk Xuanzang returned from India with hundreds of Sanskrit texts, which teams of multinational scholars translated into Chinese. Foreign religions weren't just tolerated, they were integrated. The Tang government established the court of state ceremonial to manage relations with different religious communities. This bureaucratic recognition was unprecedented. Art and fashion transformed under foreign influence. Tang pottery adopted Persian cobalt blue for their famous ceramics. Women's hairstyles incorporated Central Asian elements, and men wore hats inspired by Sogdian designs. Music became truly international. The Tang court orchestra included instruments from across Asia, Persian pipas, Indian flutes, Central Asian drums. Emperor Xuanzang himself was a patron who welcomed foreign musicians. Cuisine evolved dramatically. Wheat noodles from Central Asia became popular, while Persian pastries inspired new desserts. Foreign cooking techniques and ingredients transformed what it meant to eat like a Tang aristocrat. This openness extended to government. The Tang employed foreigners as generals, administrators, and even palace guards. And Lushan, the famous rebel general, was of Sogdian and Turkic descent, evidence of how integrated foreigners could become. Education and scholarship became international pursuits. The National University in Chang'an attracted students from Korea, Japan, and Vietnam. They studied Confucian classics alongside foreign knowledge brought by traders and travelers. Technology flowed both ways. Chinese papermaking spread westward, while Tang engineers adopted Central Asian irrigation techniques. This exchange of practical knowledge fueled advancements across Eurasia. Literature flourished in this cosmopolitan atmosphere. Poet Li Bai incorporated Central Asian themes, while Wang Wei's Buddhist-inspired verses reflected India's influence. Even foreign poets, like the Persian Li He, gained fame at court. The Tang capital wasn't alone in its diversity. Yangzhou, Guangzhou, and other port cities hosted large foreign communities. Arab traders wrote detailed accounts of Chinese cities that still survive today. This openness had practical benefits. Foreign merchants paid taxes that enriched the treasury. Military alliances with Turkic and Uyghur groups secured borders. Cultural prestige made Tang China the civilization others sought to emulate. But cosmopolitanism had its limits. The 845 persecution of Buddhism showed that tolerance could waver. Foreign religions faced restrictions when perceived as threatening state authority or Confucian values. The Lushan rebellion from 755–763 CE tested Tang openness. This devastating conflict, led by a foreign-born general, made some question the wisdom of integrating outsiders so deeply. Xenophobic sentiments occasionally surfaced. Despite these tensions, the Tang ideal of cosmopolitanism persisted. Even after the rebellion, foreign communities remained. The dynasty's final century still saw vibrant exchange, though on a somewhat reduced scale. Japan became perhaps the greatest beneficiary of Tang cosmopolitanism. Between 630 and 894 CE, Japan sent 19 official missions to Tang China. They returned with architecture, writing systems, and governmental models that transformed Japanese civilization. Korea's Silla Kingdom similarly embraced Tang culture. Korean students studied in Chang'an, while Korean monks brought Buddhism back home. The cultural exchange was so profound that Korean aristocrats could quote Tang poetry as readily as Chinese scholars. The Tang collapse in 907 CE didn't end its cosmopolitan legacy. The Song dynasty that followed maintained overseas trade networks, but something unique had been lost: that particular Tang combination of confidence, curiosity, and openness to the world. Today, we can still see Tang cosmopolitanism in unexpected places. The Chinese word for lion, shizi, comes from Persian. Popular instruments like the erhu have Central Asian origins. Even tea culture incorporated foreign elements during this period. Archaeology continues to reveal Tang diversity. Tombs contain figurines of foreign merchants, while hordes of Sasanian coins prove extensive Persian trade. Each discovery confirms how global this civilization truly was. What made this possible? Tang confidence. Unlike later dynasties that feared foreign influence, the Tang believed they could absorb the world's best ideas while remaining distinctly Chinese. This cultural self-assurance fueled their openness. The Tang created a model for multicultural societies. They showed that diversity could strengthen rather than weaken a civilization. Their approach to foreign communities, allowing cultural preservation while encouraging integration, remains relevant today. This cosmopolitanism wasn't just about tolerance, it was about active engagement. Tang officials studied foreign languages, collected foreign maps, and documented foreign customs. They saw the world as something to understand, not fear. The Tang legacy reminds us that globalization isn't new. 1,000 years before container ships and the internet, goods, ideas, and people circulated across continents, Chang'an was the hub where everything converged. As we look at today's interconnected world, we're following paths the Tang helped pave. Their experiment in cosmopolitan living, with all its successes and tensions, offers lessons for our own multicultural societies. The Tang Dynasty shows us what's possible when curiosity triumphs over fear. For nearly 3 centuries, they built a civilization where difference was celebrated as a source of strength. In doing so, they created not just Chinese history, but world history. Next time you see Chinese art, hear traditional music, or even use paper, remember the Tang contribution. But more importantly, remember their example, that the most vibrant civilizations are those open to the world.